Hi from Florida Grand Opera. I'm so excited to introduce our Sit-Down Saturdays series on FGO Go. On Saturdays, we will be sitting down with past and future creatives from on and off the stage to find out a little bit more about where they're from, who they are as an artist, reminisce, and dive a little deeper into future productions. Our first sit-down is with an artist very near and dear to our hearts at FGO and in Miami, Elizabeth Caballero. She's been in 8 productions at FGO and a 9th, including a day of jump-in for a performance. So grab a cafecito and sit down with us. So Elizabeth, thank you so much for chatting with me today. I'm so excited to see your face.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
Get to have a sit down with our hometown hero, our hometown soprano. Everyone loves you at FGO.
Oh, thank you. Miami is home.
Yes, so thank you so much. Which, speaking of, so you're from Miami, you're Cuban.
I was born in Cuba, and I migrated to Miami very early on. I was 6 years old.
Oh my gosh.
40 years.
That's incredible.
I've lived, I'm more American than I am Cuban.
Yeah. But you're Miami,
really
so that takes you a little bit back to the Cuban, because Miamians are more Cuban than they are.
That's true. That's true. I'm a true hybrid.
Yeah, even me, I've been living in Miami now for almost 4 years, 4 years in October, and I'm starting to become Cuban.
Yeah, there's an expression in Spanish that you say, todo lo malo se pega, everything bad sticks. So.
Well, listen, if you're Cuban, I'll take it.
Good.
Okay, I'll keep it. And you have, so did
it's
you-
the guava pastries that won you over.
And cheese, of course, with the cheese though.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And so when you were growing up here and then you started to get into opera and singing, did you do all of your singing training here too, or did you go away?
I always sang as a child in church and in school, and I would always audition for the solos, and a lot of times I would end up getting all these solos as a child. So I was never really a very shy child, and I enjoyed performing, and I studied piano as a child and everything. But I really didn't know much. I didn't know anything really about opera until I graduated high school, and I went to Miami-Dade, and there I met Dr. Beverly Coulter. Some of you Miami people might know her.
We know her. She was with the studio this season.
Absolutely. We all know and love Beverly Coulter, Dr. Beverly Coulter, and she was the first person that ever introduced me to opera at the Miami-Dade campus in downtown in Wolfson campus in downtown there. And she just she started giving me voice lessons. My first song that I ever learned was Jai Sole dal Gange from the 24 operatic Italian art song, little ditty book, whatever.
Yeah.
And then my first aria was there we go. My first aria was Quando me Bo from La Boheme.
Okay, which you will come to know well.
Yes, which I have come to know well. And opera for me was, what I knew of opera was Kill the Wabbit, Bugs Bunny, Kill the Wabbit, and Fat Lady with the Horns, and that was my impression of what opera was. So I started to make fun of what the operatic sound was, and when I was growing up, I was never one of these young sopranos that I automatically naturally went to my head voice. Still today, I have trouble finding my chest. If I want to raise up my chest voice, it's not comfortable for me at all to bring up my chest. It was always a natural transition for me to go from chest voice to my head voice. And so with a teacher, with Beverly's guidance and with my other teachers along my path, Beverly, I studied with Lorraine Buffington at the University of Miami, and then later on in life, who's been my constant guidance for for 20 years now this summer, is Manny Perez. With them, we've been able to, kind of cultivate and really improve the natural talents that I had.
Oh, absolutely. But what is awesome to hear too is that you're cognizant of this. So you are always thinking about what you need to do technically,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah, I kind of am, but I don't consider myself, like many people approach me to give voice lessons, and I'm not a voice teacher. I don't think I would ever want that responsibility, because I'm one of these singers that I had a lot of natural talents. So I don't know how to teach a lot of that stuff. And it's a lot of the stuff that that I've been taught through the teachers that I've had through my years, how to, just like I said, cultivate what I had naturally.
Yeah. And that's
so
why
I wouldn't know how to guide anyone. It's lucky, and I'm very fortunate, but at the same time, I wish I had that other gift to be able to teach and encourage others. Whenever people have approached me for that, I always tell them that, and I just help them more along the lines of dramatical coaching and acting wise, because I like to consider myself not so much of a singer, but more of a singing actress, because opera for me is complete theater.
Yeah. Oh, hello. Isn't
Yeah.
it? It's like, I always say it's like a telenovela. If you love it, it's human emotions that we experience every day, just on a little bit of the next level. You got 5 bars to fall in love, enough to want to kill yourself 3 hours later.
It's so funny, because I was telling my friends about it, and they were asking me all these questions about opera and stuff like that, and I showed them arias like Visidarte and Signore Ascolta, and basically it's a lot of arias that there's a lot of praying going on, and a lot of I want to die going on, and a lot of why me going on. So yeah, it's kind of a lot of that.
It's so good. And so you were a young artist at FGO.
I was a young artist in 99, 2000.
Yeah.
And that was right after I had graduated from the University of Miami. After Miami-Dade, I transferred to the University of Miami, and that's where I met Dr. Lorraine Buckington. And she was my other voice teacher after Dr. Belby Coulter. And I graduated from UM, and I immediately auditioned for Diana Soviero and Bernardo Zong, who were in charge of the program at that time as well. And I auditioned for them, and I got in. And one of the most amazing things that I learned from both of those wonderful creatures that they are
my mentors too. So
it was which is why I love Diana so much, because she considers herself also a singing actress. And Bernard, who is such an amazing stage director. One of the things that they focused on and made us focus on as young artists was that you need to pay attention to the grammar of the text in your librettos, which is one of the things that we don't pay attention. Like, why, if you're singing this, if this is a question mark, you need to sing it like a question mark. How do you sing it like a question mark? How do you sing an exclamation? How do you sing a period? And what kind of period is it? It's all these little tiny details. Is it in quotes what you're singing? Is it in all those little things mean something? And it was something that I never really truly thought about until they brought it up. And I always carry that with me.
It's so important. And I mean, it's obvious too. So your first show as a young artist, you were in Bohème or Carmen? It was Carmen.
Carmen. It was Micaela and Carmen.
Oh.
I was second cast. Because it was two. They had 2 casts, and I was going to be the young artist cast to do. It was not a young artist cast all around. They had a real Carmen and a real Jose, and then little me, 20-something-year-old me, and I sang, and I remember singing Micaela, and the stage had like this huge long stairs, like the mountains, of course, coming down the mountains. So, and Micaela has that beautiful duet in Act 1, and then she has that Act 3 aria. And it's a great role for a young singer. And it was an amazing opportunity, a wonderful experience. And I just remember, just because being second cast, I didn't have any rehearsal on set.
Right.
So
and you went to Broward. Was it in Broward? Was it in Broward?
No. There was one performance in Miami-Dade when we were still at the Dade County Auditorium. and another performance in Broward. So I got to do it in both places.
Perfect.
And I remember in Miami-Dade going down the stairs. Oh my God. It was like, I was like really praying to God, please don't let me fall down these stairs.
Yes, do not.
Protégez-moi, Seigneur. Real protégez-moi.
Literally, like there was your inspiration for that aria.
My subtext. That's when I decided I'm a singing actress.
So good. Method. You got to do method acting.
I Daniel Day-Lewis it.
Yes, absolutely. And then you were back as a resident artist, right?
Yes. Then I got in. I was doing an Adler Fellowship in San Francisco Opera after I did a stint in University of Miami. Then I did Maryland for a couple summers, and then I was invited to do the Adler Fellowship at San Francisco. And in between there, they excused me to go back down to Florida to do a run of Bohèmes, where I got to do a resident artist position as Musetta. And it was my first time performing the role of Musetta. Kelly Caduce was Mimi, Andrew Richards was Rodolfo, great cast.
Yeah,
Frank Hernandez was Marcello. I got to kiss him. That was fun.
Yes, come on. So good.
Yeah, so a lot of great memories. Yeah.
And then I believe you did, the next thing was Bohème.
Yes. Then I came back as another Bohème.
Was that Musetta?
No, that was Mimi this time. Then I finally graduated to Mimi status. James Valenti was Rodolfo in there. Who was the Musetta? Oh, I'm trying to remember who the Musetta was. Oh gosh, what's her name? I can see her face. Well, she was beautiful.
Yeah, well, that's nice. And then you came back many years later and jumped in. This was just 2 seasons ago. It was in 18-19 season.
Yeah.
Came in like day of or day before.
The day before, I had just done The Turn of the Screw, so my brain was fried in Seattle. My first time taking over the governess. Amazing. I'd love to be able to have that opportunity again, to do that role again. Hint, hint, anywhere out there. Yeah, and I had just gotten home, and I got a call from my manager saying that you guys were in need of a Mimi for that night.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That night.
Yeah, I remember that, and I was like, oh my gosh. And I just remember I was doing titles actually that night with the performance, and I was just like listening through the monitor. I'm like, oh, this is so good, because you had just been at the Met.
I had just done it. Yes, a couple months prior.
Yeah.
To that one, I had jumped in for another Bohème as Mimi at the Met in the beautiful Franco Zeffirelli production with the golden curtain, when you do your bow. And
right.
I got my wish. I could die happy as an opera singer now, because I have taken a bow in front of the golden curtain.
Yeah, exactly. That's
all I've ever wanted.
That's amazing. And then you did a note say here too, right?
I did. I got to do my Countess there. And the other thing that I did that was very, very endear to me was Rondine. Oh. I got to do La Rondine, which I think was the only time that FGO has ever done that, a production of Rondine.
Yeah, yeah. It's, that's a piece we all love,
It's so beautiful.
It's never done.
It's Puccini light.
Yeah.
It's Puccini trying to be, light, but he can't, because it's Puccini. And at that final duet in Act 3 is just Puccini heartbreak.
And the schmaltz. Oh,
love it. I love it.
So good. And then one of my favorite things that I've been fortunate to see is the turn dot when you sang Liu. Yes. Love that. See, you were like
with Lee Lindstrom, Frank Peretta, and Kevin Langen. Kevin Langen was Timur, which I just got to do Giovanni again with him.
Yeah, that was so good.
That was my first time after 10 years, I think, performing with him again.
Yeah.
More than 10. He's a beautiful man. That's what's so beautiful about this career, and why I hate using the term blessed, because it's been hashtagged so much, but I do feel Like it really is. You know, I move around all over the place. It's never stagnant. It's never boring. I get to meet and work with so many wonderful people, and you get to hear those stories like Kevin, for example, who's had over a 40-year career, right?
Yeah.
This wonderful bass, has sung with Leontine Price, Luciano Pavarotti, Eva Marcon. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on. And I just love sitting there and like listening to his stories. And I'm waiting for his autobiography to come out, you know?
Absolutely.
And like Pam, there are so many other wonderful colleagues that you work with that you hear of so many stories. Oh, when I sang with so-and-so, this is what happened, or blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, really? Oh, that's so cool, you know? And it's nice. It's so wonderful.
It is a special part of the career, you know, and it's interesting too, because you make those like lifelong friendships instantly, because you're just with these people kind of 24/7, and that's all you have in like a month amount of time.
Pretty much.
So you love each other, and then you get separated, and it's like at the end of it, you're like,
which is why I love medias like social, like Facebook and some of these social media outlets. That's one of the great, when people complain about them, I'm like, well, you know, I can understand your frustration with them, but at the same time, I do enjoy having them, because it's nice to know when so-and-so had a baby, or when so-and-so bought a new home, or when, you know, or they're making their debut at so-and-so opera house, and you just are so happy and thrilled for them that you get to share, you know, a little bit of their life, even though you're so far away and you were together for like a second of their lifetime.
Right.
You know?
But those relationships become so close so fast, where even though it was a second, like I still have a brother and sister in that person.
Well, because you're performing and you're creating this art together.
Yeah.
And you have to just open yourself up completely to this person that you're working with, all these people that you're working with. Everyone, we all have to just open ourselves up and not be afraid. So just by opening up, I think it's just it's so beautiful that we can all do that. And that closeness, that bond that we all share is very special. And the audience gets to feel that too. You know, I always say it's been great with all these HD productions and all these live streaming that a lot of companies are doing now, and it's lovely. But I always say, don't miss your opportunity to be a part of that energy in the audience too.
Yes, absolutely.
Enjoy all the HD, all the live streaming, absolutely. But if you want to really be a part of that performance, we need you seated in that seat, because your energy comes to us. I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it now.
Too. That whole energy and that whole synergy is the core of our art.
I can't tell you how many times I've had like kind of like a blah day, and I show up at the theater and I'm warming up and the voice is just not working, and oh my God, okay, fine, let's just do it, let's just go. And I get on that stage and I get the energy from a good audience, and it turns out to be my best show. And it just happens. Or it could be the other way around, where you're in great voice in your dressing room and you're like, and then you have kind of like a audience, and it's a great show still, because you were in great voice, but it's funny how like the one where you felt that was meh, you feel like you sang better because the audience was there with you.
Absolutely. And you know, that's why you spend so much time on technique too, because your body just kind of knows it, and so much of the singing is really not even what's being thought about. It's
one of the most liberating things as a singer, as an opera singer, that I tell a lot of young singers, forget the technique. You got it. You've got it. You have it there. Now just have fun. Start having fun. Technique is important when you truly need it, in a sense of if you either are sick or if you're dealing with something vocally that you are trying to figure out. That's when but you're not always that way. So have fun. Enjoy it. It's
because that's why you did all that. Your body let it remember.
All that hard work.
Don't make it remember. Let it do its thing, and you'll be.
It knows. Trust. Trust yourself. That's what it is. Trust. We need trust.
Absolutely. And so we after Rondine, oh, and here's another fun back relating to Giovanni. Then we did Before Night Falls, and you
That's
were
right.
and Elliot, of course,
Yes.
in it.
Got together with Ellie again. Well, Before Night Falls was a very special piece for me, being a Cuban American and a Cuban American that migrated the same way that Reinaldo Arenas did through the Mario boat lift, which, like I said, on May 15th is 40 years that the United States has been my home because of the Mario boat lift, you know? So, yeah, it was a very, very personal piece, and because of so many things, that he's Cuban American, that he's an artist trying to fight and find his freedom, fight for his freedom and find it, to truly express himself as an artist. And that it was written by another Cuban American that came to the United States. He was like another weird hybrid like I am, because it's funny how we are, because we are very proud that we're Cuban. We have all that like Cubanness that we've been growing up with, rice and beans and the music and the loud talking and everything. But at the same time, we're also very proud and very grateful for being Americans. And that's what was so cool about the whole project, that I had so many connections with it. You know, the composer, the story, and the characters that I got to play were so beautiful. What was really lovely that Jorge did for me, Martin, was that he rewrote the role of the mother, rewrote it for my voice type, where he had originally written it for a lower voice type. But when he found out that I was going to sing one of the muses, he rewrote it and for me, which was really, really sweet of him to do, so that it would feel more comfortable and would sound nicer. And that was actually one of the first times that I think I've ever worked on a piece with the living composer still there, which was also a very interesting experience.
Sure.
Because normally you just have the music staff and the conductor, maestro, telling you how to do things. No, this time we had the guy who had it all in his head.
Yeah, he's like, no, I created this. And
this is my baby.
Yeah.
You're gonna make sure this baby's walking right.
Yeah. And it's so beautiful. Oh my gosh, the music is gorgeous. It's visual.
I had a great time.
Yeah, it was.
The story, everything, and Elliot did such a beautiful job at it. I really hope that piece has legs, and if my wish comes true, I think it should do a full circle, in the sense that it debuted in Fort Worth when the piece debuted, and then the fact that it was taken to Miami, where he landed, where he was living for a while, and then it would be so amazing if it could be performed in New York, where he finally died and made his final home.
Yeah, it's a beautiful
hero.
Yeah,
a man fighting for freedom, an artist fighting for freedom, and which is kind of how it feels like we all sort of kind of are. We're all fighting for our art. We're all fighting for our art, for it not to die. So it's fun, weird times.
Yeah, it is so relevant to us right now. And then then Elliot was in the recent Giovanni, which was a fun experience for all of us.
Yes.
And you were our Donna Elvira, and you graciously.
I love Elvira.
You graciously sang Mitra D for me.
Yes. Yes, there was the talk about doing the Prague version, which the Prague version does not have Mitra D, because it doesn't have that epilogue that I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm gonna offend a couple of musicologists, but I really do not like that epilogue. As a performance piece, I enjoy it so much more when it's performed with Giovanni just going down a hill and we don't hear about anyone else. It's for theater. It's more interesting for me. But I do also, it's nice too when you have the epilogue, and it's nice to do it, blah, 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 but I enjoy it when it's cut. And it doesn't bother me. I'm not the kind of performer that if I don't sing the aria, I've done it already. When I was young, when I was a singer starting in the business early on, I would get very offended when that aria would get cut, or when I was in a company that they would require us to use mics. But now I'm like, dude, I don't care. I'm still getting paid the same for less work.
Yeah. And that's a beast. I mean, that is a beast.
That aria is no easy feat. That is so true. I mean, I've been singing, Elvira's been one of the longest roles I've been singing. Musetta, Mimi, Elvira, Nedda. It's been very nice. I've been very lucky that I have kept a lot of these girls in my repertoire. So I've been doing Elvira. That was one of my earliest roles. I think I've done more than 10 productions of Giovanni, and
amazing.
I can't think about how many like performances I've done in between there, like at least 5, 6 each. So like easy over 50 times I've sung the opera, you know, and it never gets old. It never gets boring. I love it because every person always brings in their own take on the Don or their own take on, and I've done, that's the other thing too, because people will ask me, do you sing Anna? And I do. I've only done one production where I did Anna. And while I enjoyed singing her a lot, she's so beautiful to sing. Really, really beautiful. I found myself missing Elvira so much.
Interesting.
Like,
well, is a backbone character, you know, like a lot of people think it's Anna, who's obviously important, you know, but the spirit of the female camaraderie really comes through Elvira.
And that was one of the things that it's so funny. See, there you go. I've done it so many times. And I discovered that what you just said, after singing the role so many times, I discovered exactly what you just said in this production. How the feminine come out, she's what was it that Mo called it? She was like the savior. Anytime Elvira would show up in the scene, it was like she was either saving someone or stopping someone from doing something or trying. She was like the guardian angel and the savior of the piece. And it's so true. Every time she'd show up, it was to protect her, to save someone, or to help them find, you know, peace. Or
she was kind of the voice of reason in each scene. It's like, no, remember, you know, he's not that person.
He's not that guy, or and that's why I like when they end it with him just going to hell and not doing the epilogue. I love it how she's the final female voice that you hear, and then you hear this amazing male trio. One of the most low voices. One of the most amazing pieces ever, I think. I love.
Awesome. And I have to say, I really loved at the end of our production, our most recent production, the portrait at the end of everyone that came out. Like for me, it was like, I was like, okay,
the final scene.
It looked beautiful. It was like a Kardashian photo shoot, is what it looked like. But it was also like, it just summed up, it really tied that, like, everyone banded together for each other, you know, and it's so
we banded for each other, but at the same time, we all still had our own demons to deal with.
Absolutely.
Because we were all left alone. We were together, but we were alone. The way that tableau ended, which was really cool. Absolutely. You know, because even Mazzetto and Zerlina, who were together, weren't really together, you know, because we were all in our own. And I love that about that tableau at the very end. And it leaves you like, he's gone. And then what happens to these people?
It was so good. And you had a little bit of a fright in the rehearsal process.
Almost, how many years have I been doing this professionally now? Almost 20 years. And been very, very fortunate that I've never had any slips or falls or accidents or this and that. And it just so happened that in the rehearsal period, after the Act 4 quartet of after the Act one quartet, Elvira she runs out because she has to do that, and I slipped and I fell, and my face just slapped the floor, literally. That's what happened.
Second and down the next.
Slapped the floor. And luckily I didn't. The first reaction was my teeth.
Right. Yeah.
Like, oh, I got my teeth. And my teeth, I must have really strong teeth because I don't know how nothing broke. My teeth were there. There was blood everywhere. And basically what happened was that one of my top tooth lacerated my bottom lip. And it went right through, and it came out through here. And I had to get stitches in the inside and stitches in the outside. In the outside, they counted 7. I don't know how many in the inside, but yeah. And during the entire performance period and the rest of the rehearsal period, I had a day off after that accident, thankfully.
Right.
And you guys called me asking me if I was okay. You were very sweet, making sure that I was all good. And yeah, I'm like, I'm not gonna let anything stop me.
Yeah, right.
So I was there with a busted lip, taking my heart out.
I may have a fat lip, but I am singing this.
Taking my heart out.
And it didn't faze you. I mean, maybe you physically were in pain or whatever, but it did not do anything to what you were doing.
It kind of freaked me out for a little bit, in the sense that I got a little bit of fear of high heels for a bit on the stage. Just because I felt like I was more grounded wearing flats, obviously. So which is why I had requested to wear flats for that production after that fall. And then the next production after that, I got to do Cecilia Valdez in Madrid, Spain, in the Teatro de la Zarzuela. And the costume had me wearing platforms about this big, this big, of course. And I was going to talk to the costume designer about making me wear flats. And I said, you know what? This is bullshit. That's okay. You know what? We're uncensored on Sitdown Saturday. That's right. I take pride in being a fearless performer, and I cannot let a pair of shoes scare me.
Sure.
So I'm gonna conquer this, and I did. And I walked down those stairs wearing platforms, and it was fabulous. And I never fell. And if I fall, I'm gonna pick myself right up again and look fabulous doing it. Even with a bust. Absolutely.
I meant to do it. In fact, I did it on purpose.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hello. Excuse me. Is that a little blood? Oh, no, it's not.
It's fine.
It's lipstick, darling.
Yeah, exactly. Don't get it on your teeth, but it's fine.
But despite it all, I do count my blessings at how lucky I was, because it really could have been a much more severe accident had I bitten down on my tongue, broken the jaw. Even if I had broken the tooth, the recovery process would have been a lot longer. So even though I'm very thankful that it wasn't as bad and that we can laugh about it now.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, you had to put one of those in your career. You know,
hello.
You can't go through a whole career without falling. You had mentioned before that you had done Elvira, a lot, Musetta, and now you're adding to that. What is coming up? And you just did Cecilia Valdez, which was so awesome. So happy
really
that it was screened too.
Yes.
That was incredible to get to watch.
You know what? The Cecilia Valdez production, unfortunately, was a little bit controversial in the sense that it was not traditional setting. Okay. So you had a lot of the purists, and I understand where they're coming from. That since it was the first time that it was a bit of a historic production, in the sense that it's the first time being done in the Teatro de la Zarzuela, the home of Zarzuela, you know, for the ever. 163 years of history, I believe it has, you know. And it was the first time they were ever putting an opera that was not from Spain. And there are many other countries, not that many, but there are several other countries that have done Zarzuela, besides Spain, obviously Cuba, Mexico, Argentina, you have Uruguay, I believe, other countries that have dabbled in the art form of Zarzuela, which those of you that are not familiar with Zarzuela is basically kind of like Spanish Singspiel or Spanish musical theater, where you have sung and dialogue. Okay, so that's what a Zarzuela is, and it's always in Spanish. And this is the birthplace of the zarzuela, and it's the first time that they're doing anything else that is not from Spain. And I loved it. It was a beautiful production, so colorful, so flashy, so of the image that we have in our romanticized view of what Cuba is, which is not anything like that, you know, honestly speaking, as a Cuban American. But the romanticized image of it is very beautiful. And I think it's really nice that that's still celebrated.
It was really beautiful. I really enjoyed getting to see it, and that you actually were able to do it, because you're on a, well, now especially, the shortest list of sopranos who are going to get to sing the full role. You know?
Yeah. Hopefully, you know, it was double cast. I was the first cast, and then another Miami soprano, another Cuban Miami soprano, Elaine Alvarez, was the other cast. So we both got to share that wonderful experience, and it was just amazing. Just I very, very, very fortunate, very lucky, and I hope I get the opportunity to do it again, even if I have to dance, because I'm not a dancer, but I will learn to dance again.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope you get that chance too. What else have you done recently? You've added a couple more, or you are in the process of adding?
Well, I was in the process of singing my first Margarita in Boito's Mefistofele, and I was also going to do Helena, and that was going to be taking place now in April at Stuttgart Opera. But unfortunately, because of the pandemic, that was canceled. I hope I do get the opportunity to sing this role, because it is, oh my God, it feels amazing. Yeah. She's so beautiful. And I've really discovered one of the things that I'm enjoying about, I'm getting a little older. And one of the things that I'm enjoying about getting into my years is that I am figuring out how to still sing this bigger and heavier repertoire that I'm starting to get into little by little. I'm still singing it with my voice and with my instrument. I'm not trying to sound older. I'm not trying to sound like XYZ that's saying it, you know, Tibaldi, for example, or Callas, or, you know, Scotto. I'm trying to sound like me with my voice, and whether you like it or not, that's your problem. This is how I'm going to do it.
Right.
And I hope you will like it, you know, because I think I have a lot of nice things to offer. But that's one of the things that if I ever do develop a studio with young singers, is that I really want to get young singers to get stuck in their heads that they don't need to change their voice or their technique or their sound, or that there's no such thing as a Mozart voice, that there's no such thing as a Verdi voice or a Puccini voice. Or yes, we do have terms for like maybe a Verdi baritone would be, or but those are just terms. You are still singing it with your instrument. You know, Richard Tucker sang Mozart the same way that he sang Puccini.
Those are all industry terms.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and they're important that we get to communicate in the industry with each other to that, but it doesn't mean anything translating that to the audience.
No, not at all. You still need to sing it with your instrument. Your piano is going to be, well, that was one of the things that took so long for me to learn as a young singer, that my piano is never going to be the same piano of someone else. And at the end of the day, it's not about dynamics. It's all about the color. The color.
Take me there. Okay. We are so talking about that.
And again, you know where it all boils down to? Grammar. If we look, you're going to sing that differently, a question mark, you're going to sing it differently from a period, from an explanation. Again, we are back to the very beginning of our conversation.
And that is where we get color.
Yeah, that's your color.
That's where inflection and tone and everything else comes in. That's where we get, like, that's what color is. And you hit the nail on the head right there. And that's, I say that all the time. It's like, I need you to make the most functional tone even at your softest. So if your most functional tone is at a forte, but that's your piano, I don't care, because you have other places you get to go, and that's
exactly
fine. You know?
Exactly. Make me believe your piano.
Yes.
Make me believe your piano. Make me believe your. It doesn't matter at the end. It's all. Oh God. I mean,
could go on for days about this.
I know. We really could. You
know, I love that so much. I just want to thank you for this time that we got to chat together.
Thank you for inviting me. I really have kept my social media I've seen a lot of my friends and colleagues really making themselves be noted on social media by performing or having talks like this and stuff like that. And I've taken this time to I guess find myself a little bit more and quiet myself a little bit more and figure out how to get through this on my own. So which is why if some people have missed me on social media, I'm sorry. I've needed this moment for myself, and I can't wait to come back. And I thank you at Florida Grand Opera for inviting me and letting me be one of the first moments where I come back out of hiding. I've been kind of like, I hid myself for a little bit because it's been really sad. This has been really hard on many of us. And it's a very scary time because we don't know what's going to happen. We really do not know what's going to happen. And some of us are even considering doing another profession if this does not change, unfortunately. Well, and that's where I'm finding myself.
I think it's really important to say that too. Like, it's okay to take that time, because what's the point in just producing something to produce it and to not actually have, I don't know what I need to say yet.
Good point. So, very good point.
So why not take the time to know what you need to say and produce when it's relevant?
Yeah, that's very true. And that's probably, and maybe that's probably why I did it, because I just didn't want to just produce things for producing, just to be relevant. No.
Yeah.
What I want to say needs to mean something to me. And at this moment, until now, honestly, I haven't felt the time to come out and say something. And thank you for making me come out of my rock.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for doing it with us. We really appreciate it. We love you. It was so nice to see you and just to get to catch up and chat a little bit.
And I hope it's not the last. And I hope I get to see the audience out there again, and I hope to be on the stage real soon again, whether it's wearing a mask or not.
We'll go for a drink when we're allowed to.
I love that.
Okay, good.
I would love that.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. My love to everyone in Miami. Stay safe. Everyone,
You too.
Oh
Bye.
God. Bye.